sort the dog out. He's chosen this exact moment. Getting all excited and stupid. Will you just settle down? Sorry, guys. Will you just settle down? Not a great start. At least the video's the right way up. I'll lay down. Sorry, guys. I'll be there in just a tick. Lay down. Right. If he doesn't settle down in a minute, I'll have to get the downstairs department to come and get him. Ahoy! He's chosen this exact moment to have zoomies. And if you can imagine. Lay down. Right. We'll give him a moment. Excuse the excited bully noises. No, I think he's going to go into another I'm going to attack my bed moment. Ahoy! How are we doing? Is that nice? Right. Hopefully that calmed down. He's thrown his bed around. Sorry guys for a bit of a weird start. We'll give him a moment. If not, I shall bang on the floor and get the galley crew to take him away. Right, it's part 2 of Henry V. So where we left off last week, after our first session, I thought I'd try and get another different camera angle this week, see how we're going. Just tell me if you want it a bit more zoomed in. It might be pay us to zoom in a bit more than that, I think. Because hopefully, or do you want to see the palette? Let's leave it like that for now. We can zoom in. Yeah. Okay, so this is the packet we're doing. The front rank miniatures from Griffin Beast. Here's the colours I've used so far. The blue, these are all Fanatics paints. So, yeah. So that was just to remind me where I was last week, because I don't usually leave miniatures at half done. So it was a bit of a, I was having a bit of a sort of scritchy moment thinking, oh, I really need to go and paint those. Right, so let's crack on. Let's get these in the order they were last week, hopefully. So I think the name is Nibs. So that was kind of the order we had them in last week. So we're going to carry on. Let's start with those blues. So we've done Imperial Navy, Regals. The next one, the thing is a Royal Blue. Well, after that exciting start, I hope everyone's had a good week. Been busy. Hope you all have too, doing your respected fun things. I think we need to zoom in just a little bit. So we're going to go a little bit wobbly for a second, my friends. Wait a sec. Let's try that. And that's better, isn't it? Yeah. We can see what's going on then. So this next, the Royal Blue we're on, aren't we? Yes. Seems weird starting a video with stuff, paint already on stuff. This is our first two were like just the establishing the shades really. So this is where we start building up. The highlights. So we want to be aiming for any areas that are going to be upwardly facing, and we want to look. I don't feel bright's the right colour on material. I sort of said strong, I think. So I'm certainly not going to go underneath his arms there. All right. What RPGs are you into, buddy? I think we're just working to the higher areas. We've got quite a good dark blue going on there, so we can. I think the dog has worn himself out. Okay, yeah. I've not played it. I know what Savage Worlds is, though. I'm just gonna go in tight to anywhere where there can be any shadow. All good. You. Ahoy! It's all gone nice and quiet in here now, Rich. Now the dog's calmed down. I think the first 3 minutes of this video is me just trying to calm the dog down. He picked literally as the clock ticked over that point to kick off. I think because I sit here quite quietly most of the time, you realise that something's going on because I'm talking to people. Obviously, you can't work out why all of a sudden I've been sat here all day painting and all of a sudden I start talking. Yeah, so there we go. Talking of chaos and role playing, we've got Rich. We picked up I was going to say another body. That's quite apt. Another player. The zombie one. So that will be starting soon. You have to drop us a message, Kubel, on Facebook or X or some whatever it is. Okay, it's got new blue. So red we've got all the way to dragon. So our next one is a pure red. blah. Yeah. So again, we're just going for that, working these highlights we'd started last week. Leaving any areas like underneath his knees there, you see. Probably see that the shadow now starting to work. I think what I'll probably do with these is I want to make a little sort of mini diorama, get them on. They won't go on a wall or the base, obviously. But I found another round base that's slightly bigger. And I might mount them all on that. Which it still makes them usable for Saga if you've got a... Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? You could use them in Saga, but probably not in the Saga tournaments and that, if they're all a slightly bigger base. It depends who you're playing with. If you're playing with mates, it don't really matter, does it? I think the way the Saga rules are, to be honest, it don't really matter about the base sizes, as long as they're not ridiculously big. I'm thinking the rule sets like that, they just got to put something, haven't they? It's all about contacting your opponent anyway. It really doesn't, because everyone fights, it doesn't really matter how many can touch the base. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna stop trying my camera in different places because I just worked out how much it is in the way. So later on, when I'm going to try and do some thing, I'm going to have to sort of do it at that angle. Well, that works. Red is like one of our highest highlights, so we're just going to work it in like that. So I'm just adding the matte medium like I usually am. So when it looks like I'm putting a lot of paint on, it's actually quite thin, so a lot of it's gonna, when it dries out, it's gonna be a little bit more translucent, transparent, something like that. I'm going to cut that top edge of that. It's going to be where the highest red is. And it's going to catch the bottom edge of those as well. And the odd little bit in there. There we go. And again on the top there, it's going to be pretty solid across the top of there. As we go around, it's going to throw the shadows again, so we're just going to work into that middle bit. And a bit along the edge. Just using those little lines. Like we did last week, that sort of sketchy way of doing it. A bit at the bottom there, a bit in the middle there. I said last week, it just, if you're painting those lines, it's just going to give it some form of texture. And a little hint of it. So I'm going to catch along top there, that top edge. It's getting there, isn't it? There's a special name for it, isn't there? Don't tell me, it's on the packet. Palfrey. It's like a big fancy riding horse, isn't it? Palfrey. I didn't know, I had to look it up. I acted like I knew. Just catching the edge of these reins on the edges that are facing the light. Stray hair at the end of the brush. There you go, around that top edge, it's facing the sun. Like, yeah, GW edge highlighting. And this is, we're kind of doing this as like, I say, you got to imagine it's like a good thing to practice where to lay your shadows and your highlights is have a go at doing some 3D drawing of letters and numbers. You know what I mean? We used to do that in technical drawing and stuff. It's just drawing those 3D cubes and stuff like that. It's the same thing. It's a decent way to practice. That red is really stuck in my brush. Get out. Okay. So trying to remember his cloak. I did with dark. So we're up to beige on that one. Yeah, so we've worked up, we did a dark grey. Same with the horse. And then we swapped into autumn stone, which is like a warm grey. So next we'll jump up to brain matter beige. do is we are going to grab some of the medium on a brush, just thin this beige down. All tonight we're working on all these layers. We've been using very thin paint, so now we're looking for all the, we call them peaks. Those that have not been before, we call them peaks and valleys. So we decided on that because it was the easiest way for me to describe what I'm painting. So at the moment I'm looking for peaks, then I'm leaving those greys in the valleys. And those particular white valleys, we're just catching the middle bit of them. It's pretty hard to show because the white always glows up on camera. But we're just working over the top of that grey. So the only grey place that's going to be left now is in the valleys. Right, okay. If you watch what I make a mix and medium up, it's basically the same as the war paints medium. So it's similar to that one, but I've just got it in my little pot here. I drop it in the corner of my palette, and I just take a brush full at a time, mix it up there. It's basically, if you look through my videos later, there's one on how I make the medium, and that shows you it's similar to the war paint one, very similar to lame medium as well. But of course you can do lame medium dip because it's just too expensive. Oh, that you might be able to afford. You might not care. You might say, to hell with it, I'm going to use lame medium, which would be fine. All I know is the Pebeo one I use is cheap, so you can use it for other stuff. And sorry, Rich, I've still not done the video where I use it for other stuff as well, but I will get around to it. Yeah. Exactly the same as if you've been using the lame medium. Exactly the same, but you're just going to save yourself a fortune. And when you know it's not dear stuff, you tend to get a bit more inventive with it. I put it in the pumice when I do the bases to keep that moist. I make glazes with it. I make washes with it. I don't drink it because it's probably not very good for you, so I wouldn't advise doing that. But yeah. And as you probably noticed, the lame medium, it's the advantage of the paint not breaking down. That's the biggest one. Exactly. Exactly. So I'm just working through the beige. I don't think anyone else has got any on them. Nope. Nope. Okay, so I think I was going to do some, as far as I can remember, I was going to do a real thin. So I'm thinning that beige out with the medium. I'll show how thin it's taken. Yeah. Beautiful. So I'm just going to do it even thinner than that. I'm going to start. So it's just absolutely really thin. I'm just going to go over the highest areas. You see it's shiny where it's wet. I've just made like I suppose it's like a filter or glaze, whatever you want to call it. But honestly, that's so thin that you can just go into those higher areas. Yes, it's the way forward in it. Once you start thinning your paints properly, the layers and the blends start working for you rather than against you. They're coming in hobbyists. What are we hobbying tonight then, guys? Because Ben's not here yet, he's probably stuck himself to something. Which is cool. This will almost, it'll dry quite weird, this will. It'll be like a white. I want to maybe start to suggest a dapple, if you know what I mean. But I don't want to go full dapple. Should never go full dapple. So I watched Tropic Thunder. Noticed Amazon Prime were taken off at the end of the month, so I thought, who knows how long you'd be able to re-see that one. So I thought, I know. The thing with the using the medium as well is these layers can go real thin and the pigment still holds together. Just make sure that the layer you're working over, I was just going over the very top, coming in inside of the area I've done before. So it's working like a highlight. Just moving that around a bit. It's pulled up a little bit there. I didn't want it to. Yeah, I'd realised I'd given my DVD away to someone else. I thought, oh, bugger. Perhaps that's one of the ones I should have held on to. There we go. So I'm just going to go back to his cloak a minute. As you can see, that we've used beige on both of those now, but because I've thinned it right out over top of that grey, it's made a massive difference. You wouldn't think of used exactly the same colours on both of those at the moment, but obviously I just didn't thin it as much on there. Yeah. The medium, when you get it right, will stop you over thinning, because you pretty much can't over thin, because yeah, even if you end up going on with just pure medium, you're not going to do any damage. It just means you're not going to get anywhere. So if you're only, it just means you might have to do an extra layer. So that's cool. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, once we've got that nice thin beige worked out, we're just going to work a little bit on his highlights. So we're going to go over the same peaks, but we're going to just stay inside them. So it just lifts the highlight a bit more. But because you'll see in a sec, he's going to look even whiter, but we're using the same paint. It's just because you're strengthening up your. It's quite hard with white because it's very opaque naturally. You don't really get transparent white, so that's why I put a grey under this one, so the grey will actually show through. But I shall do a video and explain all that in the video, because that's quite an interesting topic. Right, so we've done the blue, red, so let's look at yellow. So we've done the demigod yellow, so we're going to go to fiendish yellow. Yeah, I mean, I use a wet palette, but obviously if you're struggling with that, you may have a piece of foam or a tissue next to your image, and just take a little bit out with the brush that way, till we get used to it. You will get used to it. It's practice, isn't it? Practice, practice, practice. I'm learning all the time. So with which this one is called fiendish yellow. Again, medium in my brush. Roll the brush about, and then I'm going to start. It's only had one low yellow, so we're going to go pretty much all over there, but we're not going to go right up underneath that strap, and we're not going to go right up to the red. So we're going to use that first dark yellow as our shadow. So again, underneath that belt. There we go. As we get to this chainmail, we're going to go in between it, but we're not going to butt up right against it. We're not going to butt right against that red. That armor as well, we can stay away from there. We will go under the shadow a little bit, because this is our first yellow. This is giving our the meat of our yellow, the meaty bit. Stay away from that. So going inside the shape, but we're leaving an edge, because we don't want to. Usually, you can get around that by doing a wash with just some of the war painter tone stuff, but we don't want to do that with this one. We're just going to do it all with our paint. There we go. Yeah. Gotta love dice. Wargamers love dice and roleplay. Not as much as role players, though, I don't think. Never far from a dice. They're like rats. I bet I can reach a dice from where I'm sitting. There we go. There we are. My players know when they're in trouble, and the DM rolls the big D20. Oh, there's a dent in this table. Right. So let's go next blue. So we're going up to crystal blue now. Give everything a good shake. Bip it onto the wet palette. And we're gonna we still want that thin. The thinner you work, the better your blends will be. So now I'm going to look at these peaks, and I'm going to go down the center of these peaks, and so nothing goes into the valleys now, because the valleys are happy, but the peaks want to be in the sunshine. So the top of his chest here is going to catch the light. So I'm just going to paint some little lines, happy little lines down the top there, not going into the where it buttons up. And I'm not going, when it goes round his chest, I'm not going under the bit that starts looking the back up. Again, on the top of his arm there, we're just looking for these peaks, these nice bits of detail that the lovely sculptors give us to play with. And just strengthen that top bit, because that's where the main part of the light's going to catch him, and that shoulder part. And just feather it off a little bit under there, because it's where his head's thrown a shadow. Just catch his collar a little bit. And just his shoulder blade there will catch quite a bit of this light, but as soon as it goes underneath, not so much. Just be aware, we don't want to, we're not trying to wipe out the work we've already done. So it's a bit strong, so we're just going to come back out, and if you go on with the paint too strong on the miniature, and it really can't, just come away, clear your brush out, reset and go again. If there's a lot of paint on there and you don't like it, just grab a brush full of matte medium before it dries properly, and just work it on the model itself. And the foundry paints are pretty similar to the old Citadel ones, aren't they? So what you might have to do is I think where they've done like a double triad, because they're all just triads, aren't they? The foundry ones, is you're gonna have to put them out on your palette, and then mix the in-between colour as well. And I think where Fanatics have got the 6, I don't think you need to do it. You can just work up and down the triad, start where you want, jump across into different triads, and tonally you know where you are. When they're brilliant paint set. I mean, I did like the ones before. I did like just the war paints. I did have all those. But I don't think there's a banned paint out there at all now. I'm not sure you can buy. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was all sorts of rubbish about. And, I found the fastest solution to flesh is the that speed paint. I don't know if you've seen the other videos. It's not, they put a base coat of the one flesh colour on, then use the speed paint as a wash, and you've got a pretty good base to do your flesh from. You can leave it like that or work it up. That was my blues. Now red. I'm going to stop there on the reds because I'm going to paint stuff over the top of them. That's it, he says. Now let's just yeah, I had that set. The old Citadel pot paints. My favourites were the AD&D TSR paints, the Ralpatha paints. I used to love. I've still got some underneath my desk here. I never used them, but they've still not dried out. I've actually got some of those Citadel paints kicking around still as well. Up to recently, I still had the box set of them. So this is Blood Chalice, which I'm going to play with for a sec. I don't think I'm going to do too much of it. From the Citadel inks, the little tiny pots of squirter pots of ink. So they did do stuff in. Okay, so this is Chalice Forever. Just gonna do a little tiny, real highest highlight. So it's just his knees. His cod piece, for some reason, you got to have that a little bit highlight down the front of his shins there. So you're going inside the other ones, and don't make sure you don't get in any of those. In fact, this is just the highest highlight of our red. So just dash it about and dot, dot, and dot. There we go. Again, we're thinning it out. So let's just catch the top of that strap there. Just the very tips of these bits at the bottom. And the edge of the scabbard. A bit down the middle. The dog's woken up again. Seems upset. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm just going to cut right at the end there, so it's obviously up there's in the shade of the inside of the helm, so we're not going to go up in there. There we go. Just using this to catch the very highest of highs. It's quite good colour actually. I don't very often use this one because it looks very salmony pink. But where I've built up the colours completely, it's working really well. This is the pure paint. I mean, it's got a very salmon look. Wash a brush, and I'll take it from the end where I've washed it out. So there's how it comes out of the dropper, and that's how I'm painting with it. That sort of demonstrates how thin I'm going. Obviously, if you're in, depends what you're painting. If you watch some of the other videos where I'm painting for flat out speed, I will use slightly thicker, well, I will use thicker paint because I'm not going to spend all the time on all these highlights. So I'll be, deploying the washes and stuff, like deploying all the tricks to get it painted quick. But we're doing a different job here. I like that as a grey. It's going to put a little bit more beige into its tail, I think. Yep, he's woke up. He's now rolling around on his back. Using the edge of the brush. So it's like I'm doing like a dry brush with we call it over brushing. There was another word for it, but I can't remember. I'm going to call it over brush from now on. So if you watch him again, I say no over brushing. That's what I'm doing. Basically, a dry brush with the side of your brush, but with wet paint. If that makes sense. I'm going to leave him to dry for it. Okay. So do we need? Yes, we need another blue. I think we went to crystal blue, so we're going to go up to Arctic Gem now. And I love these on the side. They're my favourite bits of these. I always found with those pots, the foundry style pots, I used to mix the paint on the sides or the lid, obviously as you do. But if you're using medium, you're obviously putting moisture into your paints as well as you go along, so they don't dry out as much. Which is kind of cool. Right, so I've gone up to, what's that one? Arctic Gem. I'm gonna get the medium in there. Let's see if the dog's going to lie on his bed now. Okay. Alright, so a bit more medium in there, in my brush. And then I'm just going to run this along the top of anywhere, those high peaks. Because now this blue's going to a very, very light colour, so you just be very careful. This is the less is more bit. You only want to touch it into those highest of highlights. There we go. Let's come back in like I did. If I eyeball it and think I need it a little bit lighter there, go and sort it out. It's going to back off. It looks a bit light at the moment because paint dries, and it's just going to dry darker. So that's fine. I say it's a little bit light there. So what I've done is I've come back into the medium, and I've nearly got just pure medium in my brush now, and I'm just going to work that around. I'm going to wash the brush out. See that light patch is all medium now, so I'm going to whip that up and then just use that in my brush just to move it around to where I want in the highlights. There we go. A bit there. See how much medium, that's just sort of almost just touching that moisture onto the thing, just moving it around with the tip of my brush till it sits just where I want it to. And that pigment's going to stop where I take the brush on. So even though you're going to push it on where you want, you're going to move it around until you find its home, if that makes sense. Because the moisture of the brush is going to leave when you lift off. Does that make sense? There we go. Going to see where I've gone back to it. Look. It's just those highlights are sitting where we want them now. Yeah, I'll do a nice little video on how to get the most out of mediums. That'll be called, I think. So we just want to dot that on. There we go. So it's like a broken edge highlight, I'm going to call that. So 40k fans, edge highlighting. Just break it up a bit. Just makes it a little bit more visually interesting. Drags your eye around the miniature. There we go. Leave them to dry. Whenever you're using medium though, make sure it's completely dry before you go into it again, otherwise just tear it out. It's so thin. demonic yellow. I very rarely get above this yellow because it is proper yellow. My paints are not liking the heat in the room. Oh, you just see them bubble up. It's weird when they do that, isn't it? They get a bit warm, they get a bit of pressure in there. Boop. All of a sudden, your little dot of paint turns into a gush. Right. Yeah, if you don't, you break it up a little bit, and then it's not as monotonous, and also it looks better. If you completely edge highlight something, it just looks like a line, and sometimes you want it just broken up a bit. That's basically what you're painting in it. Just keeping that yellow nice and thin. As Duncan would tell you, at least 2 thin coats. More thin coats better. Many thin coats. Okay. Yeah. It works. Yeah. It just... It's like anything, you got to know less is more sometimes. Right. I think that's the colours. I don't want to go any higher in the blue range. So all the colours are done. So now we're going to work on the flesh, because all that's had at the moment is it's had a moonstone base. It's had the speed paint Crusader flesh as a wash. So now we're going to... Yes, true. Yeah. Yeah, you can get carried away. I mean, I'm going to town on these because of what they are. If you look at the this grab, I'm doing a commission. These are just some 30-year ones I'm doing at the moment. They're lacquered. Now that's my tabletop standard. So if you look at that, there's not layering in that. There's washes in that. There's speed paints in that. There's, you know what I mean. So you can cut corners and still get a decent effect. Because when you see them on the table and they're that far away, they've got to look good. But when you compare what I'm doing here to these ones, it's just not a comparison. But you don't want to do every miniature like that. So these are just ready to be lacquered. Look, so they've got to have another wash on them yet. So yeah, they're sort of tabletop. Where these are going to be our main feature, so we're going a little bit hard on these. That's what you could. if you try and go flat out on every miniature you paint, you'll burn yourself out, and you'll end up with lots of unfinished armies. So next is agate skin. Thank you very much, Sage. Yes, I mean, you can do stuff. It's like I've done the flesh on this guy. That's only like three blends, 3 or 4 blends. There's no edge. There's a little bit of edge highlight on there, but I've broken it, so there's enough to give it a highlight, but there's not enough. It's not complete. It's like on there. If you completely edge highlight that, it looks silly. The other thing I noticed as well when I was painting a lot of the 4-point warbands for people is if you go to town on every single miniature and they're all warlord standard, the warlord doesn't look as good, and the warband almost looks rubbish because it's too well painted from every miniature. So the levy or a rabble need to look like a rabble. That's my 2 pence in it. So we're going to start highlighting our flesh out. So we've gone up to the next one, which is the agate skin, and we're going to do foreheads, noses, chin, upper lip, or bottom lip if it's sticking out more. And we're going to do cheek and jawline. There we go. Cheek, jawline. Catch one vizier as well then. A bit more medium. I'm not thinning this up as well, but I just want the brush wet. I don't like my brush being dry. So I'll keep a little bit of moisture with the medium in it. So I tend to dip in the medium all the time and back in the paint, even though I'm using it quite thick. So again, across the top of his thumb. I've got a straggly hair on this brush. I'd usually stop and cut it off. It might come loose, let's see. As long as it isn't your lead hair, you'll be alright. These are my very expensive brushes. There we go. Yeah, I had my hand in a nice place, so I didn't really want to stop at that point, but it's getting a little bit annoying. But these are, as you can see, these are very expensive brushes that I've okay, so we're going to go across the forehead. So forehead, nose, cheekbone, chin. Okay. Yeah. Yes. It's not too bad with these because these are very cheap brushes. So, you know, they work out about 60 pence each. So, if it's rubbish, I just throw it in the bin. Or this one's getting very annoying. If I'm just doing, let's grab another one. They even come in there in a little packet there. Yeah, the best way I've found to trim them. Of course, another one that hasn't got a decent point on it. You do that's the thing with these cheap brushes. I buy big packets of them, and you'll go through loads. And look at the state of that one. It's rubbish. And they just go straight into the pile to do metallic. They'll be good for metallics. Oh, there's a whole packet of rubbish ones. Look at the state of that. Yeah, I'll either use these or these. I like army paints ones as well, but I'm not keen on a triangle shape brush. I prefer a thin one. I used to use Windsor and Newton 7s. And then had a bad one and got put off. I'm just so annoyed. I don't want to be thinking about what brush and fretting about what brush I'm going to buy next. So it's like that's why I like the army paint ones, because they're not the best brush out. Although the Kalinsky Masterclass ones are very, very good. So we've done that one. So we're going to go up to the next flesh. We're going to do bubbly barium flesh. I'm just going to our brush nice and moist, and then we're going to go inside that other highlight, so it's across the top of the forehead, down the bridge of the nose, a bit more medium. And we're going to do the cheekies, it's across the top of those cheekbones, bottom of his earlobe, because I like that edge of his chin, sorry, jawline, top of his chin, other side. So there we go. And then we're going to do top of his hand, end of those fingers. There we go. And the heel of his palm. I don't mind carrying a little extra paint in the brush like that when I'm doing this, as long as I'm in control of it and the brush is moist. It's gonna just work fine. Just means you have to be a bit more careful. Just picking out the top of those fingers. There we go. Yeah, I'd had a Windsor Newton and it lasted ages, and I'd worn it down to like a single hair, and it was brilliant. Then I ordered another one, and it lasted like 2 miniatures. It was lousy, and I thought, well, I'm not just going to keep chucking money down the drain. So that's when I bought some army painted ones. It's before I was using the paint, to be honest. And I thought, well, these are all right. Yeah, you get a rough one every so often, but generally, you know what you're going to get. The masterclass ones, the The dearer ones do last a long time. I mean, I've got one here. I've worn the paint off it, and there's still a point on it. And the insane detail in the Psycho I use, again, you can see how old they are. They go on and on and on and on. So, but for the main heavy lifting, I use these cheap ones. But it's just a personal. The triangle one's an old artist trick in it to make you not hold your brush too tight, because you shouldn't hold your brush too tight. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Right, while we're on the faces, let's get some eyeballs going. I'm going to use matte white. I know Karen hates it, but she ain't here. A lot of people use an off-white. I don't really see as a problem using white. If I was painting bigger eyeballs, maybe, and I'm going to use an off-white and then a white, you get it. But so I'm using, oh no, I'm not using insane detail. I'm using my worn-out Psycho, which is worn down to a little tiny nib. I load with medium, dip in white. Then I'm going to take the excess paint off. And I'm going to set my hands up against the bench. Well, I'm doing it in the air so you can see it. There we go. You're back, Kubler. Well done. There we go. Keep that nice and moist, the brush, because it's a little tiny brush, it will dry out quick. All right. Yeah. So why did you need all your role-playing dice in such a rush then, Kubler? Oh yeah, you were having a D&D session with, is it Savage Worlds, you were saying? Yeah. Then I grabbed the blick. Now this black paint here, as you all know, is not Citadel. It's actually mostly Vallejo in there, I think, at the moment, and medium. So I just keep it thinned down in that pot. Then whenever that pot runs out, I just chuck some more black in it and some more medium. There we go. Thing of eyeballs. These dots, don't try and get them in the middle, Go left or right, slightly of centre. Or even paint a line, whatever works for you. Okay. Yeah, during the vid, I discovered Roll20 online and started doing a lot of role playing with people I'd not seen for a while, like from different parts, far-flung parts of the kingdom. Which was kind of cool. Not as good as doing it around the table, but there wasn't much chance for that then, was there? So wash that brush out. Make sure these little ones, you keep the cap on them. Just, that's all that the brush does, is eyeballs, freehand, that sort of very tiny stuff. And they last for ages. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I discovered. I was saying the role playing. That's what I discovered. Shadow of the Demon Lord. What an evil system. Okay, let's grab some Brigadine Brown. Take the metal ones just in case you need to throw them. Brigadine Brown, there we go. Some of those metal ones, mate, if you threw them, costs would be in trouble. It's sitting at a funny angle. I put brown on the wrong side of the thing, so I'm just gonna, before it dries, bit of water, get it in there, wick it away. Problem solved. Sort of problems you go along when you can. It beats going back to them at a late date. You either forget to go back, or it makes extra work for you to go back, if you know what I mean. Just loading that medium in there. The other thing about this matte medium is it comes out real matte, so the paint, when it dries, because I'm adding plenty of matte medium in there as well, is you get a nice flat look to it. Okay. Message from Timu saying my latest delivery's been delivered, that they delivered 2 hours ago. Nice. That's ready for another video on Pirate Rich Plays. Done an unboxing video of some minis I bought on there. I'm just going to drop some of this brown onto these ties. I know they're probably supposed to be white, but they're not going to show up if I do them white. So we just drop a little bit of leathery look into there. Okay. And we're looking for any nice leathery straps on everyone else. I'm going to do the whole back of his legs in this base brown, and I'm going to pick out the straps with a lighter brown. So it looks like he's wearing leather pants. That takes you back to Dollington. Tommy Vance and his leather pants. Monsters of Rock. Oh yeah. So yeah, we're just going to lay that Brigadine brown okay. Same with him. That's all right. Has he got any? Yeah. It's probably going to be more like a fawny coloured already. Yeah. The straps over the top. But hey. Oh boy, he's going to be sitting on liver. Okay. So we're taking a bit of time over these guys. We're not rushing with it. We don't have to. These ones are about getting it right, getting him lit right. So we're just gonna run some black over his scabbard. So you see how thin this out. There's a lot of medium in that, so it will go really matte black. This dagger scabbard will do black as well. Do that. I just wanted the darker. Got a lot of colour in these guys, so just wanted a little odd bit of plain, if you know what I mean. Okay. Then we come to the horsey. Eyeballs. Black eyeballs. Black oofs. I'm not worried if the black goes onto the base, because I've got a base each anyway. So. Sorry guys, I was holding the miniature at a really weird angle then, because I forgot to move my camera to normal. Sorry. Depends really. I like painting them all together, and you know, there are drawbacks to that. It depends how. If you can get everything, I stick them together. Sticking them together before they're undercoated, you glue in metal to metal, so you get a stronger if they're going to be used. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know where I was. I like that. I can't even see the screen on the camera phone. Nice. Yes, this is a horse. This is Binky, the horse. Okay. Yes, right. Okay, so now we're going to go for greedy gold. You knew it was going to happen. It's one of my faves. And this is where those brushes that had funny points come in, because they can do the metal work, so we can destroy them. Okay, he's got no fancy gold on him. He's got some gold on him. So again, I'll load up the brush with medium, and then I go into the gold, just so it's more like the brush is wet than anything else. I'm not looking to water the metallic down, although you can a bit, because metallics are gloopy, aren't they? So you can put a little bit of medium, but I find it's best to do it in your brush. I'm doing that thing again, aren't I? Sorry guys. Yeah, so if I'm loading the brush with medium, I can judge if I need any more or not. And obviously the gold's going into the dry palette, not the wet palette, because metallics on a wet palette are a disaster. Down that gold. Trim on the top edge. Because we're going to go back in with some colour. It's important we get a nice solid. Ahoy, Ben! How goes it? We presumed you'd stuck yourself to something. That's why you weren't here. And I think we should. Oh. Yarg. Absent shipmates. We've discovered that I've put my camera in the wrong. In other news, Ben, I've put my camera in the wrong place tonight, so I keep pointing all the miniatures like that as I'm painting them. It's a new novel innovation from Pirate Island. Is showing this painting from many different angles. I'm just going to line out some of his armour. Oh, sorry. There we go. There he is. Just kind of fancying up his armour a bit. Bloody hell. He's king, so he can do it if he wants. That sort of shit is possible. Go and put some more gold on my armour. It's not goldy. It's not got enough gold on it. Go and just do it again. Just work around the miniature. Need to be taking some time with these. We might as well go to town and make them really fancy pants. This is what we were saying about edge highlighting, doing too much of it. So around these, is it pauldrons there? I can't remember. We had this the other week. If you go all the way around unbroken, they look weird. It's just like you're painting circles and stuff, and that's not the effect we want. just want it to look mega-tastic. Where is working symmetrically as the wants to as we can. As long as the sculptor's been our friend. So you don't need it. A little misplaced bit of gold there. Usually I wouldn't have worried about that because it just looked like another sparkly bit. But because we are painting who we're painting, we want to. This is the guy on the table everyone will pick up and have a look at. So put your hard work into this one. If your levy arches don't look as good, well, they're not supposed to. So I'm just touching down, I'm not making it a complete line. Just letting it break. So I've broken edge highlight again. I think that's enough gold. Let's do it on his nipplings. There we go. Now he'll have a fair amount on him as well. These are the king's buddies. You're not going to let his buddies look tardy round him, is he? What sort of king would he be? And this guy's holding his brain bucket, for God's sake, you know what I mean? Just adding a bit of medium again. Perhaps I shouldn't have zoomed the camera in at the start. Who knows? I kind of like this. Quite a good picture of where it's landed. Also remember to wet out my hand. Yeah. Yes. Well said, Kubler. This is the film or play version. This is the Hollywood version. To be honest, it's when you go to these reenactments and you see somebody sat up on a horse with all the plate mail on and even just chainmail on the surcoat, it's pretty awe-inspiring, it. I'm not going to do much edging on him because he's obviously not the king. But still want him to look magnificent. It goes along with what I was saying about painting the whole army over the top again, doesn't it? If we paint all these over the top, then the king won't look as over the top, But they're still going to be pretty fancy guys. Yeah. Just think that might be enough. Think about going around with his gauntlets. The sharp edges are real taking the paint really well. Yes, sir, I'm holding the king's helmet. It is safe. I'm keeping the king's helmet safe. Don't worry, my liege. Your helmet is safe with me. Sometimes you just lose it when you're painting, you know, the score, guys. A bit more medium in that brush, make sure nothing gets all stuck up and claggy in there. I think claggy is the correct word, especially when you're dealing with metallics, the claggiest of all paints. So a little bit too much gold went in there and it took some of the details. So what I've done is I've taken the gold off my brush in the dry palette, and then I'm going back in and taking some of the paint off the miniature. Very important that. Don't want to lose any of that lush detail in there. And front rank miniatures are just great. I'll do the no, I've not done the unboxing video, the 4 point. Hopefully, I want to start that next week. So if I don't get these completely done tonight, I'll try and do like a midweek video or something. I'll either do like, I'll just nudge the camera, sorry guys. I can either do it live, or I can do a how to paint freehand stuff. It's pretty much the same, isn't it? Whether it's going to be freehand or not. I was hoping to get the freehanding done tonight, but these are taking a little bit longer than I thought. Yes. I was thinking about for the freehand whether to actually set the camera pointing directly down at the desk so you can watch what I'm doing with the paints as well. So I might do that as a separate video so I can have the camera right over here pointing at the desk. Okay. Yeah, Bretonnia, that's a great practice for it. That's a good dry run on it. I think there's different levels of freehand. You can sort of do if you're doing a big batch of them and you're doing like generic quarters and stripes and stuff, it's almost like doing Viking shields, in it. You can do the quarters and the halves. They're good to practice on. And then you start doing like boars and crap like that. Oh my god, you know what I mean. So yeah, but obviously doing, it's like the royal coat of arms. I've done it in the what's it, sword point, but I've done it in there. But yeah, I want to get onto the 4-point box. So I've got the unboxing video for that. Do you like the unboxing videos, guys? Let us know if you're watching this back tomorrow on the clips. Have you seen any unboxing videos on Pirate Rich Paints and Pirate Rich Plays? So I'm trying to get into those as well. I think I did the rule book to this the other day. And I've got, say, a 4-point starter box. I've also got to do, which is good. Let's see if there's any more gold I want to do on him. Don't think there is. Nope. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I was looking at the Age of Chivalry rules, and to be honest, and the boards. There's so many of them, and it depends who, what, where, and why, and you know what I mean. So you could paint the actual coats of arms, and somebody's going to rivet count and go, well, he was dead before Agincourt, or he was dead before this, he died at this battle, blah, blah, blah. So I think a lot of the time you're better off being a bit more generic anyway. And the other advantage, especially on the Age of Chivalry, is it means you can use the same miniatures for multiple warbands, which is really nice. And if you could just have like Legion of generic troops, and then just paint a few different warlords. That works. When somebody called him River, there was it was actually some Napoleonics I painted, and somebody should I remain nameless started having that they were when Griffin Beast just got front rank. I got a load of Napoleonic stuff to play sharp practice, and I painted them all up, and as a colour guide I used the TV program Sharp. Yeah, you know what's coming. Anywho, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to grab some silver while I'm talking. I'm going to do some highlights on the armour. Yeah, so I painted up Sharp and his pals and stuff using photos I found on Google of the TV program, and they look. I was quite pleased with them. Well, you know, everyone loves a bit of Sharp, you know what I mean? Apparently not. Yeah, Rivet character ace. And that's what somebody says, stop being such a Rivet character, someone. Because they'd sort of say, oh, that's the wrong colours. And then he was, well, he said, oh, he's doing the sharp. Uh, oh, and the guy come back and goes, I've checked the series, and at no time in the series did he wear that uniform. And I thought, well, that's weird because I got the pictures from the internet and they were sharp with Sean Bean. But that was when I realised that, yeah, some people you just can't win, so you just say, yep, move on because life is too short. And that was when I sort of, I've said it on here before, they're your miniatures, you paint them as you want. I wanted to do all the knights of King Arthur from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I will get round to doing the big chicken on Sir Robin. He ran away, he buggered off. You know what I mean? I think people forget these are the clues in the name. These are games. We're playing games. We're playing with toy soldiers, which is brilliant. I painted there's a Minotaur up on my shelf somewhere. Big, I think it's a Heresy Miniatures one or something like that. But anyway, it's quite a big old Minotaur, and he's got his shield is a unwrapped tin of Red Bull because that's what it looked like to me. That it looked like somebody had unwrapped. The shield's brilliant. It was like obviously a found lump of tin or something, but I thought, all right, that's got to be a tin of Red Bull. It's my miniature. Sometimes I think some miniatures just give you a instantly you think, oh my god, it's such and such, and if it looks like it, paint it like it. Because probably the sculptor did as well. Where is he? Oh no, he's not on the back of the desk anymore. I thought he was hanging around at the back of the desk. There was a Grenadier miniature I was looking for years for. It was in one of the old Judy Guthrie packets, and it was Kurgan. She sculpted Kurgan. It was one of the packets of 5 evil warriors or something. And one of them's got Kurgan sword and helm. It took me ages. Yeah, I think good sculpts, you know, they obviously reflect the amount of work you put into them, but it's pretty hard to make a front rank miniature look bad. So what I'm doing with this silver is I'm just working around them and giving them a bit of shiny. Remember, I'm going to put some matte lacquer over these. So I'm taking up to 11s, they can come back to 10. So if they look a little bit King Arthur shiny at the moment, they're going to go back. I found him. Cheers. He's brilliant. I've just not got around to painting him yet. I had the rest of the packet. Well, I found the rest of the packet in a box, but obviously I kept him separate. And then he got whisked off to Cornwall, and I rescued my old collection and my friend's old collection when there was some house size going down, if you know what I mean. So I suddenly got up. Oh, I got this phone call. I need to get all these miniatures out of my cellar. And it was all the miniatures we used for role playing in the 80s and 90s, which was amazing. They were all still there. Most of them were still unpainted, apart from the ones that me and a friend painted. So these treasure trove just turn up. So what I've been doing in between commissions, when I'm a little bit relaxing, I'll paint some old minis. Mm. Well, that was my mission, was to paint all these old miniatures, and when I go do the conventions and different shows and that, I take them with me and I sell them off, and hopefully they end up in kids. The youngsters are really loving these old miniatures. It's like I've done this one. One of the boxes given to me was the old Ralph Chaos Dragon. I thought, oh yeah. It's a bit bleached out under this light, sorry. But you could, but even that's an old one from the 90s, whatever. You can still buy it. That's what I mean. It's not. There was a couple more. I did a couple more. Hang on. Did some halflings. Look at these. They're ace, are they? But I take them to the convention. I just put them on the stand. I think it's. I think they're in £10 pot. So people just grab them. They go crazy for them. So it's just to pay for my time painting them, really. They're not paying for the miniature. Oh, I love this one. The Spartan halfling. Look at him, he's ace. I've got trays and trays and trays of them at the shows. So if you ever see this, I did start putting them on eBay, but people just don't want to pay any money. You know, they just. Oh, these are the ones I showed you the other week. These ones. You had Landerschneck guy, that other dwarf brother. One of my favourite barbarians. I think he's great. I love the runes of his sword. And oh, another halfling. I think that's all sticking around on the side for the moment. Oh, and there's a mind flare, but that's one of the blue giant ones, one of the Fighting Fantasy Brain Slayer or whatever it is. Oh, there's one hiding back here. Oh, look at this. Oh, my faves. I had this on camera the other week, didn't I? I forgot. That's still hanging around on my side. So I put the big one next to it, didn't I? Right, back to work. Sorry, guys. I got sidetracked there, didn't I? I'll be looking for dice next. There's so much. I did a tour. I think it was at Christmas. Didn't I? I know it's Christmas before. I did a tour of my painting room with all the shelves because I'm surrounded by dragons and God knows what on the shelves. Right, let's just grab. Let's do his boots. So bootstrap brown. We're going over the top of Brigandine brown. Sorry guys, I got a bit all chatty there. So when people come around to the studio and that we end up chatting about. Yeah. Oh, I've not seen that end before. Oh, you've got the barrel. Oh. What's that dragon? Yeah, okay. You know the score. Right, so over the top of Brigandine brown, we're going to water it down. I'm just going to do a big juicy highlights. We're going to catch anything that's forward facing in the peaks, leaving the troughs, valleys. A bit more medium in it. There we go. This is my favourite three browns are this Brigandine brown with bootstrap and then the leather brown over top. It is perfect for that sort of worn leather look. Even the dog thinks so. He's snoring with approval. I'm not sure if you can snore with approval. If you can, he is. So again, we're going to pick out the straps. And then we're going to do a little bit in the middle. But we're not going to go right up tight to the straps, obviously. There we go. Into the medium, into the brown. Everywhere. Pick out the straps. Into the medium. There we go. I'll use this bootstrap brown to do his moustache. facial hair. I'm going to go back to the Brigandine brown and really, really thin it out. Use that for the base of the hair. Because the other thing is, you'll notice when you start thinning out paints and using a Zenithal or a different undercoat, you get some very different effects from your paints when you water them. Thin it out again. Do the same for his horse holding guy. I'm sure there's a. I was going to say stable lad, but he's not a stable lad really. He's a servant, I suppose. Page, I don't know. I'm going to stick with horse holding guy. Sorry if I've offended any horse holding guys out there. Write and tell me. Address your envelope to Pirate Island. Pirate Rich Paints, Pirate Island. I'll get it. The posties will know where I am. And then, or instead of post, if you put it in a bottle and throw it in the sea. Although I don't condone throwing bottles in the sea, actually. Come think about it. Scrap that. Well, I'll have Greta on my case. What about littering the sea? Don't throw stuff in the sea. I don't know if there's any glue in it. I seem to be having a bit of a time of it. But you see, he's nearly done that. In fact, pretty much he's done because there's no. I'll just highlight his hair out. Yeah, let's do that now. So I'm going to go to the bootstrap brown now. Take it nearly all off my brush, and then I'm going to use inside of my brush, pick out the odd strand of hair. It's just that over brush thing again. I don't want the paint too thin, I don't want to brush too wet, because I'll encourage it to go into the grooves, which I don't want it to do. Okay. I'm just going to pick out a little bit of hair on top, and you kind of work when you're highlighting helmets and heads and stuff. You almost, especially if it's all flesh, work around in a halo, because you think, well, that's it's going to look lighter at the top. That's where the light is catching it. But yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, so let's finish off his shoes with the leather brown. Bit of medium in this. I'm actually going to catch very highs on these, so it's across the top of there. A bit too much water in there. It's really neat. This is it. It looks too much at the moment, but when it dries, it makes it look like the leather's all crinkled and scuffed and stuff. There's a bit of water sitting there. Let's take that out. I was just in the yeah, have a good game, buddy. I'm just going to take some of that leather again and just highlight the straps. I'm not going to leave the trews. So I'm just going to pick out the straps for this one. Just a little bit of highlight on that strap. A little bit of highlight down that sword. Pew, pew, pew. So we're getting to that point where we're almost ready to do the freehand. Now I'm not happy where the camera is set up, that you'll see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm happy with the grey, in fairness, on that one. So while I'm talking this through, let's paint their bases black, because I always like that so I can see what I've got. And look, where you base, I'm going to be basing these differently to what you usually base. So that's the other thing I always do when I'm using flock and stuff, is I'll paint the base color of the stand black just in case some flock comes off. So yeah, but you see what I mean? Instantly you can see he's done. He's just needs his heraldry. My missus would be like, what do you mean you didn't finish them? She's a bit of a slave driver. Ones like this aren't a race. You know what I mean? So he's going to need his coat of arms. this one, they got those fancy belts on them. They were different, the colours on them, and his headband, so it's a little bit free-handy kind of stuff. Let's take a bit of black off there that I'll just put on this shoe. Yes, it's just that band around his head and that his belt. He's the same, he's got the fancy pants belt. And he's got a headband. He's very 80s. Oh, he's got a star as well, hasn't he? On his heraldry. Just heraldry to do on them. I'm trying to get to it's just the heraldry to do, and then I can do a quick, maybe do that one live on Wednesday or something. I'll do a part 3. Part 3, the heraldry. Then I can set the camera up above the bench, so you're looking right down at what I'm doing. That might be quite fun. See, I'm in about painting the base in black. Sometimes I just do it just to have a good look at what you got. Yeah, I reckon that's a good plan, because that's literally what's left to do today. So I could push on for another. Yeah, it's unusual. I've not done it like this before. I said to the Beastie Boys I was going to do that with these ones rather than do a really long one, or just do, because at first I thought, shall I just do the king and then do the 2 knights and then do the horse, you know what I mean? But I thought if we take them on as a project, you can see actually how many hours go into doing a proper job on them. And I think the last video was about 3 hours, wasn't it? So we're in about 5.5 hours now. So if you think about that, we've got 5 miniatures. So yeah, if we spend another hour on them, I reckon we'd be somewhere handy. And then there's, yeah, so if I do another, I'll try and do it Wednesday. I'll advertise it like I usually do. We'll do part 3, and then might even get a basing video out of them as well, which would be interesting. So do a different base style than I usually do. Okay, that's a decision made. Thank you for your input. Right, let's have a look at where we are now. So I'll say he's done bar of the lacquer. We're down to what I call the fancy bits now. And as I said, thank you for joining me again, guys. It's been a pleasure. These are going to look wicked, wicked, wicked. Right. Yes, we'll do a trilogy. Thank you for joining me. Join me for fancy bit. I say I'll try and do it Wednesday. And I'll practice putting the camera above the painting desk so you can have a top-down view of it. I think might be better. yeah, have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you all again soon. If you've just stumbled across this video, and don't forget to drop a subscribe and a like and a comment and whatever. And I'll probably see you Wednesday, and also watch out for the unboxing one, which I'll probably try and do. Wait to that tomorrow or Monday. And also check out Pirate Rich Plays, which is our new channel doing different stuff that doesn't seem to fit well with here. So if you know what I mean. So sort of more fantasy stuff. All right, guys, and good night to you all. See you again soon. Bye now.